Welcome to the Your Business on Purpose podcast, the ultimate resource for women business owners looking to confidently navigate their entrepreneurial journey while upholding their principles. I'm Dawnette Palmore, your host and fellow entrepreneur. Join me as we immerse ourselves in illuminating conversations with accomplished experts spanning various fields across the business spectrum. Together, we'll unearth strategic insights into seizing opportunities and ensuring that your business is equipped with the essential elements aligned with your purpose and values. Hey everyone, welcome to Your Business on Purpose podcast. I am your host, Dawnette Palmore, and this is a show where we help women entrepreneurs build financially strong, purpose-driven businesses that don't just pay the bills, but they find the life you truly want to live. I want to give a shout out to T8572 on Apple Podcast. They left my podcast a 5-star review saying, I like Dawnette's ability to make intentional thinking not even an option, but an obvious space for women business owners to be in when growing their business. I look forward to seeing her fresh take in every episode. Thank you, T8572, for that review and compliment. I truly appreciate it. And if any of you who are listening, if you would be so kind as to leave a review, rating, and both, that would be appreciated too. Whatever podcast app you are listening to, I'd be ever so grateful. And it helps me to reach more people faster. It helps with the algorithms and all the stuff that we need to get this podcast out there. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that I think a lot of us will relate to, maybe just about all of us, but and because we talk about business all the time, right? That it's a Your Business on Purpose podcast, so we're always talking about business and about money in our business, right? But we don't always talk about how it shows up in our relationships, because that's just as important as how it shows up in our business or our relationship with money and our relationship with our business. So let's talk about money and relationships and how to navigate as a business owner and a partner. Now, whether you're married, dating, or maybe you're co-parenting, right? Money plays a major role. As entrepreneurs, we bring a whole different level of complexity to the table, right? And I think this is going to be a good topic. I think this is going to be a good discussion. So thank you for joining me. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive into this, right? So when we run a business, our money doesn't always show up every 2 weeks, right? In a paycheck, which can be pretty stressful sometimes. And you might have a 5-figure month, and then you'll go 2 months with nothing, right? It's the ebbs and flows of business. It's the roller coaster ride of being an entrepreneur. And you might also reinvest most of what you make. Maybe you're at that point, like there's all different points and scales that we are in our business. So we have to also think about that. Or you might carry the weight of paying your team, right? Or your household if you have a team, or maybe you are what they call a breadwinner. You're the sole moneymaker in your home. And if your partner doesn't understand the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, it can create tension, fear, and even resentment. Now, I am sure that there's some of you that have probably dealt with this or are dealing with this in your marriage, your relationship, your partnership, whatever however you define that right now. But it can be a lonely ride. Entrepreneurship can be a lonely ride, period. But if we don't have that support in the home, it can make it even more lonely, right? Even more treacherous, even more harder. So I've had, some of my clients say things like, my partner thinks I'm playing business because I don't bring home a steady paycheck, or we argue every time I want to invest in my business. Or they don't always get why I can't stop working at 5. If any of this sounds familiar to you or something like it, this podcast is for you. So keep listening. So let's talk about the common money dynamics in relationships. Okay. So let's break this down a little bit. So we have a situation where we might have one who's a spender and one who's a saver. Now, neither are right or wrong. We naturally tend to be a spender or we naturally tend to be a saver. There's one that could have a 9 to 5 and the other is self-employed. Then we could have one that tracks every single penny. And then we have one that avoids money talks, right? So we have a lot of different relationships uh, or identities in relationships in regard to our money of how we can look. So sometimes it's really, the friction isn't about money itself. It's really about how we view money or how we view money individually. And as you've heard on podcasts before, right, we come into relationships with a money story. We have carried a money story with us through our life. And you guys have heard me talk about this before, that our money story comes from our childhood. And then, of course, top on that, experiences that we've had since ages 0 through 7, but our subconscious is developed between 0 and 7. So a lot of our money thoughts and story come from that time period. And maybe you grew up with scarcity. Maybe you grew up with excess. Maybe you equate money with safety. Um, and they might equate it with freedom. So that's why communication is key, right? In every relationship, communication is key. And I'm learning this more and more as I get older and older. And we're going to dive into that in just a minute. But let's talk about what actually works, right? So there's 4 strategies you can implement right now. One is have regular money check-ins. I like to call these money dates. You've probably heard me talk about it. I did a whole podcast on money dates. You want to schedule them. I would say if you first start off, I would schedule them weekly or every other week and then go to monthly as you guys get everything ironed out. So what do you talk about in a money date? One is what came in. What did we have come in this month? What did we have go out this month? What's coming up? You just want to start the conversation. We're not going to shame each other. We're not going to blame each other. We're just going to get clarity on what's going on and start creating alignment with each other, right? So we don't have to start planning anything, but we could just start the conversation. The second thing you want to do is set clear boundaries between your business and your personal finances, okay? So I've done a whole podcast on this before as well. So you want to make sure you're separating your business account from your personal account. There's many reasons for this. Please go back and listen to the podcast that I have on that. I am not sure exactly what episode that is. But please go back and listen to that because it's very important. You want to pay yourself a consistent salary, right? So making sure that you are working in episode, let me see, I got this right in my mind. Episode 159. Okay, episode 159, I talked about paying yourself a consistent salary and how to figure all that out. So go back and listen to that one. It's going to tell you exactly how to do that. And you can also download a free ebook I have, which I'll talk about later in the show. Make sure your household budget spending plan is based on what the business can reliably support. So you don't want to say, "Oh, I need $10,000," and your business is making 8. So and you want it to be consistent. So be very realistic. And again, go back and listen to episode 159. I actually cover a lot of about this and what that needs to look like and how you can figure that out. When we have everything mixed up together, it creates confusion, right? So when we have confusion, it leads to arguments. When we're trying to justify like everything that we've spent money on and cutting into our personal, that can also cause some tension and resentment as well. So we want to try to avoid that. So if we keep our monies separate, business and personal, we can clearly say, no, the business isn't costing you any money. The business sustains itself, or it makes a little bit of money. Here's how it makes, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then the third part is going to be to plan together, right? So whether it's a new car, a vacation, paying off debt, uh, setting goals together, whatever that looks like for you guys. It's hard to have unity if we're not aiming for the same things. Now, that doesn't mean everything we're aiming for is going to be the exact same, right? Because we have personal goals, and then we have goals that we have together. Sometimes those align, sometimes they don't, and that's okay. But we want to have goals that we set together, things that we're trying to accomplish together, as well as our own personal ones, right? So um, you can use a spreadsheet, you can use a vision board, a spending plan app, and you really just want to keep things transparent, right? So that your partner doesn't think that you're trying to hide anything or do anything funny. This will just really create an openness and a closeness as well. Because when it feels like somebody's trying to hide something from us, that trust gets diminished, and it's so hard to build trust back, right? So we want to make sure we're trying to be as transparent as we can, so that we can have a strong relationship and a supportive partner as well. So we also want to practice empathy and not judgment. Okay, so we want to remember we're on the same team, right? I always love, one time my husband had to do a toast at a wedding, and the one thing he said to the bride and groom was, remember, it's you two against the rest of the world. And that was such a beautiful thing for him to say. So remember, you guys are on the same team, right? So if money conversations are triggering fear, shame, or anger, it's usually tied to a deeper belief or past experience. So I would also, one, say lead with curiosity, lead with grace. You guys are building something together, but also if it is leading, to these feelings and these emotions, take some time by yourself and kind of just like do a journal of what you're feeling, and go back to your childhood or your experiences with money, and kind of say, okay, why am I feeling this way? What has happened that made me feel this way? And just kind of journal that down, and so that you can be aware of where those feelings are coming from and not misplace them with your partner, if that makes sense. Like, because sometimes we do misplace trust or anger or fear of something that's happened in our past, and then we bring it into the present, and we place it somewhere that it really shouldn't be, because that person maybe never even did that to us, or whatever the situation is. So make sure you get with yourself and journal about that as well. Um, so, these are some things you can start doing to really bring you and your partner together, to make sure you guys are aligned, that you're dreaming together, because we can have these lives, we go off and do our own things most of the day, right? Most of us don't work with our partner. And you have this whole life you live during the day, and then you come together, and you're trying to probably just get through the night because everybody's tired or whatever. But we got to get back on the same page, and dream, and make sure we're spending time together and rekindling that, so that we can make it work, because it is really going to make a difference in your business if your partner is supporting you. So these are some ways that you guys can help each other. So here's what I'd love for you guys to do. One, schedule a money date this week. 30 minutes, talk, don't fight. Separate your business and personal finances immediately. Start paying yourself consistently, even if it's a small amount. Okay? Even if it's a small amount, please start paying yourself consistently. Name one financial goal that you two can pursue together. And then get support, whether it's a coach, whether it's a tool, a trusted resource. Don't carry this alone. We need help sometimes, and sometimes we need outside help. We need expertise. Don't be ashamed of that. Don't be afraid of that. Um, get the help you need so that you guys can be successful together. And money really doesn't have to be a source of conflict. It shouldn't be a source of conflict. It should actually be a tool for connection, right? But just like any tool, it requires intentional use, clear communication, and mutual respect. So if today's episode helped you, share it with your partner, a friend, or someone who is trying to figure things out just like you are and keep their business and their personal relationships strong. So thank you guys again for listening. I appreciate you so much. And remember, conducting business on purpose not only fuels your success, but it also propels you towards a purposeful life. So thank you for tuning in. And until next time, embrace your journey of intentional business and purposeful living. This podcast is dedicated to you and all the incredible women out there breaking chains, pushing through, and striving to make it all work. Your support truly means the world to me. Could you do me a favor? Be a gem and leave a review. It will help us reach even more women, making a bigger impact. Your feedback is invaluable, and I would genuinely appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, ensuring you never miss an episode. Until next week, live a purposeful life in both your business and your finances.